Coach, good morning. Thanks for making some time for us. How about that win on Saturday night, man? Y'all did it in the last minute.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just an amazing opportunity for our program. Not only to be on the national stage, but to win in that fashion. Just really a reward to a lot of hard work in the off season and get to that point to actually playing football. And again, the cherry on top was winning a tough game.
Coach, we talked to Matt Berry of ESPN on Monday, who was on call Saturday night for your game, and it was kind of interesting to hear him discuss broadcasting the game from Bristol. You being there in Montgomery, how was coaching different than a usual packed house?
Well, again, I think that's going to be adjustment throughout college football season, maybe even through the NFL as well, teams that aren't having fans or limited fans in the stands. It's just a different atmosphere. It's a different if fans are what motivate you, then you're going to have to become a self-motivator. You're going to have to get something else to get you going. I mean, it's different. I know in the Crampton Bowl on Saturday night, that stadium holds 25,000 people, I think, and I think 2,500 were allowed in there. So it was different. It was different, but it was something. Once the whistle blows and you get into 60 minutes of a football game, you don't think a whole lot about the crowd. But again, leading up to it, it is different. It's something that you'll have to get used to.
Nathan Brown, head coach at University of Central Arkansas, with us here on the Morning Rush. Let's face it, University of Central Arkansas FCS program generally doesn't get a lot of games on national TV unless you're going to a Power 5 team's place to play. So what's the exposure been like for your program? You were in the spotlight. It was one of the big stories on SportsCenter. What has it done for your program and for the university itself in the last few days, just having that kind of exposure on a national stage?
Well, it's been huge. We talked about it all summer as a program that we've got an opportunity to be the only show on week 0 of college football. And our kids did right. We're living in a pandemic time where they have to make good social decisions and wear their mask and stay social distance and pass COVID-19 tests weekly. So that's hard to do. You could do everything right and still contract the virus. So really it was just a reward and an opportunity, not only for the student athletes, but for our university to spread our national brand. We feel like the state of Arkansas knows us pretty well, maybe even the southeast region to a certain extent as far as our recruiting footprint. But the opportunity to be in homes across America was something that doesn't happen very often for a place like University of Central Arkansas. So we wanted to make sure we took advantage of it. We wanted to make sure that we put a good product on the field, and I'm just proud of our guys for coming away and fighting and finding a way to win the game.
You mentioned the COVID protocols and the challenges those have. Give our audience a perspective about what really goes on, the amount of testing, what players have to go through. Because, I heard and read some criticism. Well, they're not wearing masks on the sideline and all of these criticisms. But the safety measures that are in place for these teams and your team at this point is pretty extensive. Give the audience an idea of what it's like leading up to the games and what your players are facing on a daily and weekly basis right now in regards to COVID.
Well, first of all, we play again tomorrow night. We're in Birmingham. We stayed in Birmingham, Alabama for the week. Just drove north from Montgomery on Saturday night. So we've been here for a week, and I just walked back up to my hotel room and our team just finished at 6:30 this morning, our second COVID-19 test of the week. So we're getting tested weekly. We don't get on the bus or plane or whatever our form of transportation is to go to a game or host a home event if we have a positive person. They don't make the trip. And so if you make a trip, you're on that sideline, and I'm talking everything from players to trainers to equipment staff to coaches. You passed a COVID-19 test. So the testing is just very extensive, very thorough. Again, and then on top of that, when we have gone through fall camp and we've gone through meeting times and different things, I mean, we've limited those as well as far as socially distancing, not being indoors within 6 feet of each other, always having your mask on inside. All the things that are being taught and said through the Arkansas Department of Health, the CDC, we're adhering to those guidelines. So, there was times where we probably could have been better Saturday night with our masks being popped up. but it's also really warm, and guys have to breathe, and coaches have to talk and communicate. So there was times where we had to pop it up and down a little bit. But again, if you're on that sideline, you allegedly don't have the virus because we've been tested in a short amount of time before the game.
And, Coach, on that note, we're speaking with head coach of the University of Central Arkansas, Nathan Brown, here on the Morning Rush. You guys did test after the game. Every staff member, every coach, every player, they all tested negative. So how positive, I say negative to positive, but how positive was that news that every single one of your players and staff members tested negative following the game?
Well, it's huge. I mean, again, it just keeps with the consistency of everybody that made that trip to that point was negative, and so we know that with this virus, I mean, it can take anybody at any time, as far as just contracting it. So we've had to continue even on this trip of being careful. We're not doing your typical road trip meals. We box all our meals for our players. They take them to their rooms. They try to we eat separate most of the time. We still spend a lot less time meeting times and around each other. So it's difficult as a coach because, I mean, that's kind of how you build your team and your rapport is being together. And so separation is tough, but it's something we've got to do because we know that this season is on a thin thread. And if we don't do right, then that'll sacrifice the season. So, that was big news. And, again, we had another one this morning, and hopefully between that one and this one, we haven't contacted anybody with anything. So, we're knock on wood, we're hoping for the same type of results tonight as well.
Coach, your schedule got thrown in flux this season, but you and your athletic director, Brad Teague, did a really good job of scheduling games and getting those together. How did you guys go about doing that when everything was thrown for a loop with coronavirus?
Well, it wasn't easy. And I'll tell you, when you lose a full conference slate, along with, one of your two non-conference games, we had scheduled the University of Missouri and the SEC, and they went to a conference-only schedule, so we lost a marquee money game for us. So really, it was just good, hard work by Dr. Brad Teague, our athletic director. I mean, he got on the phone with his connections and fielded calls and made calls and did unbelievable work in such a short amount of time to get close to a full schedule on our 2020 season. So our players appreciate that. They appreciate the hard work and effort to get that done because look, a lot of places probably just looked at it and said, you know what, I don't really want to work at finding a schedule and mix and match dates and all these things. But our administration was committed to it. Our players were committed to playing. And it was fun to watch that schedule work out. And really what resulted in probably being the toughest schedule in the history of UCA football program. So we're excited about it. And look, it's a challenge, and we're going to hit it head on.
Yeah, congratulations on that schedule. Hey, two of the games that stand out to me, Arkansas State on your schedule, and you're going to play Missouri State, which might not raise the eyebrows of many on most years, but the fact that Bobby Petrino is their head coach now, I think, grasp the attention of a lot in our state, and you're going to play them twice, home and home.
Yeah, so that's a unique deal in itself, playing somebody twice.
Yeah.
We actually have two teams that we do that with. We play Eastern Kentucky at home and home as well. So, 4 of our scheduled games this year are home and homes with FCS opponents. So, I do know it's hard to beat a good team twice. That's always a difficult task. We've had to do that in the past. Just maybe playing a team in the regular season and having to play them again in the postseason. That's tough. But again, it'll be exciting to play Coach Petrino. I know he's probably got his career, wins everywhere he goes, first of all. But second of all, just probably got, revitalized life and excited about what he's doing up there. I'm sure, we all know they're going to have a good offense. So that's just a good regional matchup for our level of football. I mean, that's an easy trip to Springfield. That's an easy trip to Conway for them. Made a lot of sense.
Yeah, no curves on Highway 65 going through there at all. So right through Marshall and
we'll make sure they take the Dramamine.
Exactly. Hey, speaking of scheduling, we all know that Arkansas has changed their scheduling philosophy in all sports but football. They're playing system schools in football, but allowing UCA to schedule or Arkansas to schedule UCA in other sports. Would you like to see a day and time where you could be that FCS opponent on Arkansas' schedule somewhere, 3, 4, 5 years down the road? Is that an opportunity you would would like to embrace is seeing UCA and the University of Arkansas in Fayetteville meet on a football field.
That, of course, I think I don't have any doubt I would enjoy seeing that. I mean, not just because it's Arkansas or it's in-state or they should play. You know, you can have your opinions on how they schedule and how they've scheduled for years, but more so than anything, it's an opportunity to play a money game against an SEC opponent. You know, and again, for a program like us, whenever you can logistically place someone within your region, where you could possibly even day trip that game, and it just makes so much financial sense for us. So, you know, as much as you know, obviously we would love to play the Razorbacks. You know, it makes more sense, you know, financially for us to play a money game, and then on top of that, you know, the cost of a road trip is a lot less when you can day trip the road game. So, so there's a lot of pluses to playing a game like that. You know, I know their athletic director is open to playing in-state schools and has proven that, and I think that you'll see that coming in the near future.
Nathan Brown, head coach of the University of Central Arkansas Bears. Coach, thanks for making some time for us this morning, and best of luck against Bill Clark and the Blazers tomorrow night, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me.
And good luck with all those Q-tips. I bet you got a little Q-tip apprehension now.
I'll tell you what, I'm a pro at it by now.
I was going to say, Coach, I've had one of those tests. It's not fun, so props to you and everyone else for going through it multiple times.
Oh, man. All right, Coach, good luck this week.
Thanks, guys.